Thank you very much, Boris, and also the other panelists for your opening statements. I just pointed out here, and now I think we have about 45. Being a moderator, I have the prerogative to ask questions, or at least start with the questions. Jutta, let's start with you. You mentioned in your opening statement that children are going to internet and going online earlier and earlier. So what do you think? And you also mentioned that, that it's very crucial to start. How early should we start? And how do you teach a child about internet literacy? How do you teach a child who doesn't even know how to write his or her name yet?
Yes, I would say it's necessary to start even before they have the digital devices in their hands. And I think that connects very good to what Boris has already said. It's a question of how long is the child allowed to have the digital device in their hands. That is part of media literacy education. And then at the German Center, we have developed a system where we would say the children under the age of 6 years old who are starting to learn to read, but they are not capable of reading literacy. But still, it's necessary to do so. But the parents have a more active role in protecting them. And there are many opportunities to protect the children. It's not only about technology, it's also about, and technology is always limited when it comes to try to protect children, for example, from harmful content or harmful contacts. You can, to some proportion, you can take technology, but it would never be something that I would call a solution. It's just one step. So parents need to guide the usage of their children, and this guidance is part of the media literacy education. And then when they grow up, when they come, for example, between 6 and 9 years old, the parents can give them a little bit more freedom, and that's like in real world. You would not allow your small children of 2 years to walk alone in the streets, at least not in the evening. But then when they grow older, you would give them a little bit more freedom to do things that they want, and that they also can decide whether they are capable to do so. So when it comes from the more protection for the very young children, it goes to the more empowerment for self-protection to the older children and to the teenagers. And it's a process. You never could say, yes, at 6 years, now you're capable to do that, and at 9 years or 12 years or 16, you are capable to do that. It's different, it's individual decision, and parents need to guide that process. And I would not only focus on parents, it's also caretakers in kindergarten. Teachers have a role to play, although not all children would confide into their teachers. They might also need social workers for certain cases. And for example, web constables, a concept that we don't have in Germany, but it needs many people around them.
Maja?
I can comment. Is it on?
Yeah.
So usually parents also ask from me that when should we have like internet lessons in school? And I always say that it's already too late. Because when you are the one who is giving a cell phone to the child, then you are the first lesson giver. So you will have to give all the main rules, set the rules, and also check the rules. So I can also only like support the same rules what the parent is giving. Because when I am talking about the rules in the 2nd grade and they already did some stupid stuff in the 1st grade, then I'm already too late. So that's why if you are the parent, you have the role to give the rules and follow the rules, and that's main important. And that's why I go to schools and I give lessons to parents, and so they can make like rules together with the school. So what the school is expecting from the children when they are in school, and what the parents are telling to the child, so that it can support the school rules.
On the psychiatrist who I have lost the eye contact, sorry. From the practical point of view, how young has been your youngest patient who has problems with online problems or some kind of addiction problems, online addiction? Or from the psychiatrist point of view, which would be the most, if I may say, dangerous age from your point of view?
First 2 years are most dangerous because the brain is developing very speedy way in that, and we see a lot of small children who are actually move their fingers, and this is definitely dangerous. So in my mind, this should actually start for parents immediately if they have been given a birth or adopted a child, because they don't realize that it's not any developmental game, and it's not funny if your child who is not walking and not talking, but he's so talented to be in computer. They are not in internet yet, but they are spending a lot of time with their pads and all kind of tablets. So
the tablet is a very good babysitter.
Yeah, it is very, and this is very relaxing. And then they can't understand why the child doesn't speak, and why they can't play, and why they are not so clever, or they are clever only in one way, and they are not at all capable to control their emotions, and they are not capable to play with other children. And this is being a human, actually. If we can't be social species, then we are not humans. So it is, in my mind, it should start very early. And this is not a question of when it's early. And there are steps. What can be done in any age, but it has to begun very early.
Mm-hmm. Jutta, and then the others.
You've said the tablet is not the babysitter, and we've had that discussion about TV 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. The TV is not a babysitter, but on the other hand, would you say the same about a printed picture book? Because in some cases, children just use the tablet like a colored picture book. Mm-hmm. And I would say there is nothing against that. It's good, they can use it like that, but parents need to guide that and need to understand that it's one click or one touch beside that to be on the internet, to have contact and content that might be harmful to the children. Parents need to know that, and if they limit the access and the usage of their children to what is beneficial to the children, then I would say nothing against using a tablet with young children, but parents need to differentiate.
Mm-hmm. Boris?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear? Okay. Our youngest client was 10 years old. We have more than 50 users, clients, that are continuously part of the program, and more than 100 if we add all those parents and closest ones to this number. And actually, our first client was 12 years old. It was like 1 week after we started our program. We got an email from the parents, really concerned one, and it was a child with really severe problems. But he was actually flying a plane. He was a pilot of a plane. He was playing this game, Flight Simulator. Someone knows this. And he was flying from Ljubljana to Frankfurt to New York and back in a real-time mode. So this is more than 20 hours per day of work. And so it was going on days, months, and a year. And after a while, he didn't go to the school anymore. He stopped normally eating. He locked himself into the room. And it was such a severe case that he was actually hospitalized because they couldn't help him the other way. But most of the users are from 12 to 25 years, boys, so young people. When to start and how to start teaching the young kids, preschoolers. we as a parents, I'm also a parent of a 9-year-old daughter, we act as a role model to them. Everything we do, they copy us at the start. So first thing is to ask ourselves, how do we use the technology? Do we use the mobile phone constantly during the driving, during the meals, at a time when we should listen to our kids? Are we on the phone? Are we checking the email or something? One thing that I think is very important is that sometimes we need to reward our kids. Do we always say, yes, you can use a tablet now? We should have a list of rewards, not just computer, tablet. It shouldn't be on the top of the list, but everything should be equal. So this time you can use tablet for 10 minutes, or next time we will go out together because you like it. We will do this and this and this. So that the option, computer or tablet, is not the highest on his reward system. So this is one thing that I think it's important.
Mm-hmm. Anna, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I think there are two very interesting parenting trends going on. One being sort of the helicopter parenting, where we really try to control our children. There's some research in the US that in the late 70s, it was about 76% of the kids who went to school by bike or walking. And now it's 6%. Because we're so afraid that something is going to happen to them. When I was a kid, you know, I got like a sandwich in the pocket and bye, hope you come back for dinner. And nobody knew where I was, and nobody was worried. So we took the responsibility ourselves. I can't do that now to my kids. I freak out completely if they don't answer the phone, and I don't know where they are. So this is one trend. Then another trend is that we've lost the trust in our abilities to parent. Mm-hmm. So we go to experts really quickly. I mean, obviously, when you have severe cases, then you need the professionals. But these are still sort of marginal and severe cases. But you get parents asking you to shut down accounts and, you know, get involved. I mean, who asks police to parent for them? These two make it very, very difficult to work in an online environment, especially when parents are very insecure. They don't understand online in the same way as the kids do. So we're doing a lot, but we're like all over the place, and we're not parenting, which is still the key issue here, be it online or offline. Somebody was saying that the kids don't make a difference between online and offline lives. We shouldn't either. We still need to parent, regardless where the kids are.
Jutta?
Yes, I would say that this is part of the digitalization of our everyday life, and parents, as they have not grown up as so-called digital natives, they can't have the same understanding like their children have from digital devices, from the internet, from social media, but still they need to understand a certain part of it. And we've been talking yesterday evening about gaming, for example, and usually parents would say, okay, now it's enough time, you have played the game for an hour or 2 hours or whatever limits they have put on their children, and then they say, just stop. But that wouldn't work with the child and the online game, because that's different to playing games that you do offline. So, for example, usually with my daughter, I would say, okay, you stop that game right now, and then you go to bed, and you can continue to play tomorrow. But that's different with an online game, where the rewarding principle is based on sometimes playing together, which is good for socializing. But if parents don't understand that it's different to stop their children after exactly that hour, then the child wouldn't understand why the parent has made that decision, and then it's not a bad relationship, it's just a misunderstanding. So somehow I would also think we need some education literate to understand how they educate their children and what it really means for their children, for example, to play an online game, to be connected to other people and who rely on the person, on the child that is playing that game right now. So, and if that's necessary, that parents as well, and that they have the openness to be educated or trained in that way.
Well, thank you. Talking about media, there was just, I don't know how many of you read, local people, there was an article yesterday, I think, in one of our daily newspapers about the YouTubers generation also, and about the issue of media and commercial advertising, that it was not for regular journalism and paid advertising and then commercial marketing. I have a 10-year-old at home who also likes very much to look at those YouTube videos where children are basically showing their own life, doing online streaming, like you mentioned before. Maria, have you seen, or have you got also requests or problems related to the YouTubers generation?
Bigger problem for us. When I talked to the Finnish web constable last year, they said that they already have got a big issue with YouTubers, but now we are a year behind getting this problem also. So they are doing stupid pranks, they are scaring people, they are doing all the American things which are dangerous. They climb up to towers where they can fall down and die. They do, I don't know, skateboard tricks on heights and stuff, and they put the videos in YouTube just to get the clicks and just to get viewers and just to get fans and just to get those who just show themselves. They do have clothes, but they might have maybe not so many as their parents would like to have. So I have seen lots of girls with only underwear, wearing underwear, or just like skirt and the bathing suit up. Yes, so it's kind of a big problem, and
it's a growing issue here.
It is a growing issue, and we are trying to also, it's never a solution that you just report to the YouTube that just take down the video. We also have to reach the child who is making this video. So it's like another kind of work to find out who is behind which they have they are not using their real names, they are using YouTuber names, so we have to trace them down. So we are waiting for those videos, we are trying to look those children, we are trying to explain the rules, but the thing is that when all the other countries allow those, I don't know, we have TV shows about prank videos, we have TV shows about YouTubers, then it's really hard to make a stop in those stupid short movies.
And I think it's not only about the issue of some stupid pranks, but also the issue about children's rights or legal rights even. For example, those YouTubers, they are kind of idols to young kids. I can give you a quite innocent example from my own life. Well, my son was also watching some other child from YouTube. And this YouTuber is supposed to be very famous, I hear. And the YouTuber was buying some kind of special marinated meat from the supermarket. It was like blueberry marinade or something. And my son told me that because this YouTuber is obviously an idol, that mother, we have to go to the shop. I want to try this meat. It's a grilled meat, and it's a very innocent example. But this is a way how also private companies can use this young YouTuber in their marketing strategy, which is not necessarily a bad thing if we're talking about the grilled meat, but it is an issue whether this child is getting equally paid, for example, for this kind of job, and it's also a question of legal rights.
And also questions about safety. They are doing those videos in their own homes. They are showing their place where they live. So if I want to steal something, I just have to look where the richest YouTuber lives, and I know where to access, what can I take, and etc.
Exactly.
I just wanted to add the example I had shown wasn't on YouTube. It's a live streaming service, so that would. I mean, you can do that on Facebook. This was Bandicam, and in Germany, most popular is YouNow. So children are streaming live, like we could do now from this panel, for example, and people from the internet are interacting. So they log in and then they chat and send their message. Oh, would you mind to show me your address? Or chat the clothes you are wearing. So, and I think that's immediate interaction that is could be harmful, because some from the audience, they would be very nice to the person that is streaming. Say, oh, you look so beautiful. And then in that situation, when you feel charmed, you would maybe give away information about your personal life that usually you would not give away when you consider. And when you produce a video for YouTube, at least you would have a look at it before you upload it to YouTube. So I think there is a difference between the live streaming and putting up a video on YouTube. And in addition, when the video is on YouTube, people can also give a comment on that, and then maybe it's taken down if it violates their guidelines for content. But that's different with the live streamed content. So, but sometimes also I need to say there is something positive in the community, because very often the communities themselves tell the children, oh, I think you are under the age of 13, for example. Are you really allowed to be on this service? And so the community also reacts to the children that violate the rules that have been set by that service. For example, when they smoke on the live stream, that's forbidden. To have a too huge décolleté, that's forbidden. And you have to have a certain age. And so sometimes also the community says, okay, you should better not stream in this way. So there is at least some reaction.
I have seen live videos where the children just write, I will report this to Maarja, and so they link my name, so I get the live stream also. But the danger in Estonia, the live streams, what I have seen, are mostly about drinking and smoking, and then the comments are more like, I think that you won't be able to drink this one glass of vodka in one sip, and then they are like pushing children over the limit, so they can't say, oh, okay, I'm so weak, yeah, I can't drink it. So they drink the vodka, they drink the other drinks what they have, so they just don't want to be in a stupid position. So it's kind of sad that they are using this live stream in a wrong way, because you can also use it in a really nice way.
Yeah, we need just to find some instruments and measures, because what we apply to other content like YouTube, it isn't effective on live streaming. So we need some other instruments.
So, like we heard before from the point of view of a psychiatrist, that the problem from real life are following us to the internet also. What do you think, how many web constables do we need in 5 years, in 10 years? Do we have a whole online police department by that time?
In the future, the police will only be online, I think. But yes, at least when we see how many police officers we have right now. But we will need more people in the internet, definitely. And I think the Finnish web constables, they started 2008, and they also had like 3 web constables, and now they have more than 20. So they are like, they have patrol officers who are working, let's say they're working 6 hours on a patrol car, driving around in the city, and for 6 hours they serve their citizens in this certain city. So you are doing the normal police work, and then you are giving the advice and knowledge, and I don't know, you explain the law, or you listen to the worries what the local citizens have for the next 6 hours in Facebook. So I think it's a quite good thing, because also to be out as a police officer, it's important, because you can still have your police skills, and you don't only live this.
You get to wear a uniform, as
yes,
I see.
Yes, and you can be like a regular police officer.
Okay. But Anna from Telia, you brought on the table a very, very crucial issue about online child abusive materials. And thank you for bringing this subject to this panel. You said in your opening statement that, or you emphasized that we cannot block everything online, obviously, but we have to block the easy access. I can just give the audience also an example which was used a couple of years ago in our local newspaper here in Estonia. It was a case where a young girl went to a library and was surfing online and tried to look up a doll called Baby Bjorn. And she didn't know how to spell it, so she wrote baby porn. So we can just imagine what could have been the harm done to this child if there wouldn't have been somebody from the library to stop her. But I think this is a very crucial issue. And I think we can all commend Telia for taking such an initiative, because I think it's very, very, very important. You also said that it's very difficult for a telecom company to make this kind of decision. Can you maybe elaborate how long time it took for Telia to discuss it? And you also mentioned already the question that you will always get the questions, what will be next? Or will this be the beginning of online censorship in your company and also in the society?
Yeah, the discussion we had in our company when I asked for, I went to ask for the budget to do the internal blocking or internal detection. It was, I would say that it was probably the easiest task I ever had. I explained the problem, I explained the numbers, I explained what we can do, and the only question I got from the management team was that surely we can do more. This is just our company, but you know, what do we do more? And that's what we're doing now. We're mostly owned by the state of Sweden. So we just had last week, we had a conference together with the Swedish government to push them, not push, but inspire them to do something similar. Yeah, so that part I would say that is easy. The difficult part is, like you said, there's it's called scope creep. That you start blocking something, and then the scope of what you block very easily starts getting wider, and you need to be very strict on it. And that's why we cooperate with Interpol and use the lists that we get from them. So we don't make the decision which content is illegal or which is even CSAM and which is not, because this is a very fine line, and it depends from country to country. So we see that it's better that we take a source that is absolutely reliable. I mean, anybody can make mistakes, but this is a list that is the most reliable list on the world. We don't let anybody touch it, take anything away, or put anything back, except for the local police, of course. But, I mean, there are other ways of, and other lists as well, but we find that it's imperative for a telco to use law enforcement as the source of as a source of data in terms of what we block and what we don't. And we had a discussion with Jutta earlier on the gray area, and this is where it's already difficult for us, and we can't really go to the gray area because it's a gray area being, for example, a 14-year-old or a 10-year-old in lingerie, in pictures that are posing pictures. This is already difficult for us. It needs to be very concrete. It needs to be absolutely illegal. Then we can do it. Otherwise, we get on this slippery slope, and then we don't know what all comes in.
You also called for the government to help with the legislation.
Well, yeah.
Do you feel, did you get a decent help from your government doing this? Is there a discussion in the legislation level also in Finland or in Sweden?
There's some discussions. There's also a discussion on sort of broadening the rights of the police or the jurisdiction of the police in this case, but not a lot is happening yet. I think one reason is that it's hugely complicated, of course, but then another reason is that And also the reason why not more people are working on this is that it's so profoundly horrible topic. Nobody wants to even think about it, let alone work on it, let alone sitting every day and think about how I'm going to block this, because it is a horrible topic. It's much easier to say that in our country we block and our operators block access to this content. So this is fine. We're done, because you don't want to think about it. And then, I mean, if you want to be completely shocked, you should look into the need to work on it, NGOs need to work on it, and we need to coordinate our efforts. There needs to be a continuous discussion on who does what and where are our touch points and how we can leverage each other's work. Then we have a bit of a chance to make a real dent in the problem.
Thank you. Jutta, you wanted to comment?
The grey area material, and we started in Germany 2 years ago, the network No Grey Areas, and this was before we had a new legislation which came into force in January 2015, making posing images of children illegal in Germany. So we know that we don't have legal regulation in all European countries or all over the world with the same legal threshold for what is illegal or what is not. But still, we're showing her bra, for example, but it's, if any image of a child that's...
It can be just an innocent picture of a naked baby,
yes,
for example.
And then it might be commented by some people what they would like to do to that baby, for example, and then it's sexualization of children, and that is not in line with the rights of the child to be protected. And when I refer to the UN Convention, if you look at Article 34, then it says that children should be protected from sexual exploitation and abuse. And this is what is happening with grey area imagery as well on the internet. It's not only the worst of the worst images showing the real abuse, it's also exploitative when these images are used for sexual arousal of adults, and that's not in the best interest of the child, so that's why we are fighting against the grey area.
Well, we are talking about the role of governments or the role of private companies and the role of telecom companies. Boris, you already mentioned in your opening statements about the role of different stakeholders. Would you like to elaborate on that?
Yes. We are all responsible for the risks that are possible online. So private companies like telecoms, government, what government can do with the policies, of course parents with their parenting, school environment, school principals, teachers, social work centers, NGOs, everyone is involved. But it all starts with awareness, and this is again continuously. These discussions should be continuous, because things are changing from today to tomorrow. Yesterday there was a Facebook, today is a Snapchat. Even Facebook and Snapchat don't know which platform it will be tomorrow accepted within the children and the youngest. And so we never know what is going to happen. So we can't follow this pace of how things are evolving. So, you know, we know all that legislation is really slow. So it's all about awareness. To know how things are working. I don't say that parents should understand everything, but they should know that there's a dark net, that there's a deep web, that maybe that there's a blockchain technology, that virtual currencies, that there's a whole economy going on the web. Mm-hmm. And they don't know that their kids are actually paying a lot of things, managing the money online. So, and of course, this all takes lots of education. But how to do this? I think that main role here could be on NGO to share different best practices among different stakeholders. We needed 1 year with Telecom Slovenia to bring one idea to reality. Cultural activities at schools, we saw that, okay, even if school says, yes, we need a workshop for our parents regarding safe, healthy, constructive, balanced use of media, we'll do it, yeah. And those are the parents that are visiting all such lectures. And those that have real problems at home, they don't show up. So we said, okay, what can we do? One thing is that we try to ask private sector, the companies that are family friendly, to make such events during the work time inside the companies. So this is what we are doing now, because people are there. If they are not at the job, they're at home or somewhere else. But if this is the work time, a job, they can inform them about different risks. So the other solution was, which we proposed to our Telekom Slovenia, one concrete solution. When parents are buying the devices, it's with no rules, with no limits, without any questions about safety, security, whatsoever. And we designed 2 contracts which parents, when they are buying the devices, get for free. Who is responsible for it? What are the priorities? Which things kid has to do before he uses the phone for fun, etc. And safety and security and balanced use of media. The other one is really serious one with real articles, and so this is one thing important. Talking about what they do on the internet, and parents to share their expectations and so on. And parents also get this handbook on how, with the recommendations to the child about pornography, which are the risks on the internet, and when can the child get a phone, when he's mature enough to get his own phone, and such really practical advices for the parents. So we try to be really concrete, but it takes really lots of effort to do something like this. I think that really raising the awareness, really area is necessary, and it's really a difficult time for parenting and all stakeholders.
Absolutely. Questions? We have time for some questions from the audience. I saw a hand here, and then next over there, and over there also. Thank you. Go ahead.
1, 2, yeah. I'm Vladimir from, know that some child-friendly solutions can be done not by parents or something like that, but big companies who really bring all these services to us. And for example, never you go onto a children's account. So my question, and I think it's a question especially for Miss Kroll and Miss Larilahti, do solutions like this really help? And if they do, how can states sort of encourage big companies like Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, and etc. Bring these child-friendly interfaces and solutions to life? Thank you.
Still talk about parenting. We can bring tools. We do similarly as Netflix in our TV services. You can block certain channels. You can create profiles, and you can actually keep the kids from accessing and set it up for you. Same with other devices. There's a product that gives parents control over the kid's phone. After 8 p.m., there is no phone. During school hours, social media apps don't work. You can completely follow what the kids are doing. But you need to make that decision together with the child, considering also the child's privacy. When the child is 16, 17, it's still a child, but you start to get, you need your privacy as well. And your parents are not supposed to know everything you do. They are supposed to give you tools that whatever you do, you will. Technology companies can provide all kinds of tools, and we probably need to get even better at it. But we can't use the tools. It's still the parent that makes a decision.
With that, the example of Netflix is very good because it's one area where what we discussed was safety by design, the concept of safety by design. And that would mean that it's built-in safety measures, so that it needs to be usable for parents. Parents need to understand how to set it up. And for example, with the 16-year-old, that's your children, you restrict access to certain type of content, and for the older children, you will allow that. And maybe for yourself, you will allow access to something that you even won't allow your 16-year-old. So that's, but it must be easy, the other step from the other side.
And if I can still add, never underestimate the curiosity of a child. They will go to any length to access what they want to access. I mean, I was testing a new, but I mean, they're technology savvy. They know how to go around.
Short comment.
This is one very practical reality issue about our old-fashioned brain. Our old-fashioned brain has very old-fashioned reward system, and it's very easy to take over, and internet is so quick with our children. And in this fight, we are very, very slow because we are very old-fashioned. And I wonder about, I'm admiring your work, how to have this usage, but we have very old-fashioned brain, and we can also like pleasure, and they like this quick dopamine high if I to you, and in a very quick way, and this is actually conservative, and talk about also about how long we actually can. I do one day in our home. Yes, digital diet is we can't compete this.
And also with any kind of restrictions, you know, the Facebook has the restriction that children under 13 fake accounts, they are lying, they are changing their year. So let's concentrate on the fact that we make our children wise and smart to be active in the social media, not to figure out how to, I don't know, make the site not available for them.
Thank you. So we have where we have the microphone.
We can't hear you. Sorry, we can't hear you.
No nii. I'm child psychiatrist, and I'd like to turn back small children. And, yes, I think really all babies and toddlers development programs in tablets, it's more needed for program sellers than for babies. Because I don't know things that parents can't teach to babies. So I think the first part of today, losing gaze contact with mother, father, nanny, anybody who is with his people, that if you are with baby, put your smartphone, I don't know. And I think it's one thing more, maybe it's a question to Telia, Anne Larilahti. Can it be any possibility, as we have in some things like cigarettes, you see it can put on some internet programs on internet, small signal. You have been in internet 15 minutes now. You have been in internet 2 hours now, or just somehow show human beings.
Yeah, absolutely you can. Absolutely you can. And that exists already. You can have timers like that. Yes.
Courses, like, yeah.
It's very good. Thank you.
Just thank you for the question. It's definitely a very important issue. We're really short on time. Just a very, very short comment from this side.
Yes, last year at the Safer Internet Forum, there was a hackathon for young people, programming and coding, and the young people developed exactly the tool that you are asking for, that shows the children the clock on the screen and saying, okay, it's time to go off for example.
To approach us during the break after, and you can also, I think you can get your answers privately if necessary. Thank you, the panelists. Thank you for listening.